back wildlings to the 4th installment of Joe's Wildlife. Now, I've got something different today. I'm not going to choose an animal and make a video about it. Instead, I'm going to let the universe decide. How am I going to do that? Good question. Well, yesterday I went to the hospital with an ear infection and I was talking to the doctor and he's told me about an island called Dinagat, or Dinagat, can't remember exactly how you say it. Anyway, he told me that there wasn't a lot of tourism on Dinagat, it wasn't very popular. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-tourism. Usually a place is touristic because it's good. But anyway, I want to go and see coral, and tourism means development and boats, and that's not good for coral. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Dinagat, I'm going to go around the island, and wherever I find nice looking beaches, nice looking coral, I'm going to go for a little swim. Whatever I find, that's what the video is going to be about. Now, what do we need for an adventure like this? Well, let me show you. First of all, what have we got here? We've got a syringe, portable party, personal locator beacon. If it all goes wrong, press the button, we'll send the helicopter and all that stuff. Hopefully my insurance will pay for it. Snorkeling gear, of course. GoPro housing, very important. This is for getting the money shot underwater. Tupperware, that's going to have my jam sandwiches. Head and shoulders, keep the hair silky smooth. Right, we arrived at our first potential candidate. It was a little bit tedious getting here, but that has its benefits. There's not another soul in sight, so I've got the place to myself. Now, the water looks a little bit dirty close to the shore, but I think that's just runoff because there's been a lot of rain. So a little bit further out, it should be okay. Anyway, let's get to it. Little tip for underwater filming, guys. If you can, always hold the camera underwater with 2 hands, more stable. Now, I'm doing this on a budget, so I made my own. It's an invention. Selfie stick, tripod. These little attachments come with the GoPro kit. Boom, free, almost. So I started with some coral, some anemone fish, you know, the usual for a coral reef video. But then I found something a little less common. A banded sea crate. A very big banded sea crate. You see, males grow to about 90 centimeters. Females grow to about 140 centimeters. So this one had to be a female, and it was definitely more than 140 centimeters. Here the water was about 6 foot deep, and I'm pretty sure the sea crate will be able to reach from the surface to the seafloor if it was straight. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, this one was about 6 foot. Even at 6 foot, it wouldn't be the longest sea crate ever found. Although they grow to 140 centimeters usually, some sea crates have been found at over 8 feet long. So I started to follow it and watch its behaviour, and I love the way they move through the water. It's like a mixture between graceful and sinister. As you can see, the end of its tail is not shaped like a land snake's. It's flattened like a spade, and it uses that to push itself through the water. Now, sea kraits aren't considered real sea snakes because they spend a significant amount of time on land and they're not as well adapted to the ocean as true sea snakes. But sea kraits and sea snakes do both hunt in the same way. They dive down and swim through the reef, looking for eels and fish hiding under rocks and in the coral. When they find one, they bite them and release an incredibly powerful neurotoxic venom which paralyzes the prey, leaving the sea krait free to eat it at its leisure. The venom of a banded sea krait is 10 times more potent than the venom of a rattlesnake. But they're significantly less dangerous because they've only been known to bite humans when they feel really threatened. Most of the cases involve fishermen untangling them from the nets or just handling them because they didn't know what they were. Now, there's a bit of an urban myth surrounding sea snakes, in particular the banded sea krait, and that is that they can't open their mouth wide enough to bite humans. Now, us free folk only deal in cold hard facts, and I can tell you that's not actually true. They can open their mouth wide enough to bite humans, and that's how they eat their prey, like eels and fish. But not to worry, they're not aggressive, just don't go bothering them. When it comes to the nesting habits of the banded sea krait, not a lot's known. What we do know is they come ashore, they find a small hidden crevice, lay about 10 eggs, and then go back into the ocean. So far, only 2 nests have ever been properly documented, which is why we know basically nothing about it. So, if you do find the nest of a banded sea krait, it's your lucky day. After a while, I left the animal in peace and swam along the coast to a cluster of islands I'd seen the day before. I've just swam about 1 kilometre up the coast to get to this place, and the reason I wanted to come here is because they've got all of these big islands, these limestone islands. Now in theory this should be a good place for looking at coral because the islands protect all of the area from the wind, so the visibility should be good. They protect the coral from the storms. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to swim around the islands a little bit, dive down, see what we can see. I saw a lot of small pufferfish while I was there, but they're quite timid, so it's difficult to get a good shot of them because when you get close they swim away. And my GoPro's only got a digital zoom, which I don't like using because you lose image quality. The bigger ones aren't quite as shy. Here's a giant pufferfish that I saw when I was freediving in Koh Tao. When a pufferfish feels threatened, it pumps loads of seawater into its stomach and it can expand to 2 or 3 times its size. But the process causes a lot of stress to the body of the fish, so I usually try and keep my distance. I don't want to stress out a fish. Next up was a crown and thorn starfish, and clearly you can see where they get their name. Now, these can be a bit of a problem because they eat coral polyps, so if they get a foothold and start multiplying, they can cause a lot of damage. After that, while I was swimming, I saw a fish move into a camouflage position, probably because it saw me. See if you can spot it before I put an arrow indicating where it is. Not easy, is it? And of course, every time you go to a coral reef, you've always got the token and enemy fish. I filmed this little guy in Malapascua. He was a curious one, he kept coming looking at me, and he was a lot further from his home than normal, so I named him Attenborough.